There's an old saying, out with the old. Here's my old 94 GT wiring harness. In with the new. Well, it's here, and here's my review on Pro-M's EFI engine management system for my 94/95 Mustang GT. Okay, one of the things I want to talk about, actually there's some goods and there's some bads. Actually, there's actually more goods than bads, but the first thing I want to talk about is the packaging. This thing came packaged in a very sturdy box, tons of installation. Everything was neatly packed. Nothing was broken. I inspected everything when I took it out of the box. So Pro-M gets a nice check mark for that, and I do appreciate that. Now, the brains of the outfit is the processor. Okay, it has a cover on it. Pro-M puts their own decal on it, but if you flip it over, down at the bottom here, it says FOMOCO, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's Ford Motor Company. This is a Ford OEM Australian oak processor. Okay, there's some gray epoxy to seal it, and the reason for the epoxy is so components don't come loose during vibration, or and also to keep out moisture. You could actually take this processor, throw it in the ocean. You could leave it there for a little bit. You might get a little bit of rusting on the terminals, but this thing will not have any water on the inside. You can plug it back into your car and it would run fine. It would have no issues. Okay. I want to talk about the harness a little bit. As you can see, this is a brand new harness, and one of the things I noticed, and it's you can be very familiar with this harness, it has OEM connectors. Here's the one for my ignition. I'm sure you guys all seen that. That's the exact same connector you have on your stock or your original harness. Same thing goes with the fan connector. Nice thick wiring there. Beautiful. They did a nice job. Nice thick gauge wiring for your fan. Okay. Your fuel injectors. This is the same connector. All these connectors should be very familiar to you because they're all the same connector. So I'll tell you what, that's outstanding. Pro-M gets another check for that, and that's a nice job. The only thing that you're not going to be familiar with, because obviously you're using a different processor, is the connectors for your processor. Okay, and this is also your OBD2 connector, which is pretty cool. Okay. One of the nice features on this wiring harness, and you can't see it here, but this is for the wide bands, but all of the wiring throughout this whole harness has typewritten print on it. Okay, everything. These are for the wide bands, and it's not just in one spot, it's all through the wiring. So your old harness is color coded over a period of time. That stuff fades. It's very hard to read, but this stuff, if you're not sure of a circuit, peel back some of the wire loom, you can just pick up the wire and you can read it, and away you go. No issues. Okay, very nice touch. I like that. We have wire loom and what they call harness wrap. This is all heat and fire resistant. This is the same stuff that you get from Ford OEM stuff. This could lay on your lower intake and it's not going to burn up or anything like that. So that's a nice touch. And again, it's the OEM quality that I was looking for when I purchased this particular system. Okay, the way this harness is laid out, the bends, the curvature of it, it's basically the same configuration as my, I'll pull it out here, my dirty old harness, or my old harness, my original harness. Okay, that's really nice. Another feature that they did, is a couple of little features, and they may not be a big deal, but I like them. This is my spout connector. This is a GM weather pack connector, and I know some of you guys are saying, oh man, GM, but it's actually a very good connector. It keeps out moisture and dust. No more spout connector to lose. That's a nice touch. I like that. Okay, very nice. Another thing in this harness, and there's no more CCRM. I don't know if you can see this, but we have a couple of relays. The relays now are all separate. Okay, all separate. And so if you have a problem with your CCRM, there's no need Well, I'm saying back when you had your old harness, if there was a problem with your CCRM, you had to replace the whole unit. You couldn't just replace one particular relay. Well, in this case, you can, okay? And that's a nice feature. And these are not in the engine compartment. These are actually in the passenger compartment. So no more heat-related issues, okay? Very, very nice. They have some other extras. I believe over there we have a wiring for nitrous control. All right, and we have wiring for 2 steps. You have your fan wiring for your fan. One thing I talked about was OBD2 capabilities. You can get one of those handheld scanners or code readers and just plug right in. This will be installed underneath my passenger seat. Here we have my USB to CAN connector. Okay, I believe this is made in Detroit, Michigan. They actually did a nice job on that. Okay, and here's an adapter plug. Okay, you guys who are running mass air, and if you buy a system like this, you gotta understand something. You're buying a stock harness. So when you buy a stock harness, you're gonna get a stock connector for your mass air meter. Okay. Now, I happen to have a newer style mass air meter. It has a 6 male pin connector on it. My harness has a 4-pin connector on it. Okay, and take a look over here. It's going to be in the same spot as the original, but here it is. This is a 4-pin. Okay. But we have a nice connector here. Just plug it in, and away we go. We could always buy a pigtail and solder it and heat shrink it, but for now, this is going to do. Okay. So far, I'm very, very happy with what I see. We have my wide bands. That's from Innovate, so that's no big deal. That should be good quality as is. Now, here's some things I didn't like. One thing, when you open up that big box, and you pull all this stuff out, there are no instructions. There's nothing. Now, is that a bad thing? Pro-M says watch the video. Okay, I can watch the video, but shit, I mean, not even a congratulations, you bought, the premier engine management system or something like that. Nothing, okay? And here's another thing I didn't like. Even though they did a good job on identifying everything, here on my sensors, on my relays, they mark them. It says ECM and sensors. This one here is AC cutout. This one here is for my fan. This one here is fuel pump. Okay, the only problem with that is if I have to change that relay, I'm going to lose my little decal. I wish they put a little sticker or a little tag on the the pigtails here, so that way it'd be easier to identify. Just in case if you forget to swap over the decal. Okay, and you can see if you peel that off, that's not going to stick good. So you can always peel back the wiring and look at the wiring, and it'll tell you what it is. But I don't want to do that. It's nicely wrapped. So I wish they put a little tag down here. That would have been nice. Okay. Other than that, I mean, I didn't find any more negatives. Pulling out my old harness, it takes a little bit of time, but one of the things you're going to get is, in return, you're going to get a brand new harness. And let me tell you something. If you think you have a clean car, take out your old harness. You're going to find some things in your vehicle that just are a mess. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to get underneath my car and clean things up. Because if your car's a mess and you start to put this harness in, the harness is going to be a mess. So it's a good time to clean some things up, and I'm going to do that. But other than that, I don't see any other negatives. Other than I have to put it in. You know what I mean? It'd be nice to just snap my fingers and be done. Or I could pay somebody to do it too, but it's not necessary. This is something anybody can handle themselves. Okay. Well, that's my review. Stay tuned for part 2. We'll enter in some parameters. We're going to start my vehicle up. Hopefully it runs, and it runs well. And then the part 3 will be all about some dynoing. see how easy it is to tune with this thing. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.